Hey, so today I'm just going to start you right out with a scripture verse. It's a short one, and it's not going to come as any kind of surprise to you in its content. It sounds like a Bible verse. It smells like a Bible verse. It just feels like a Bible verse. All right, you ready for it? It's Romans chapter 1 and verse 21. Actually, Romans 12:21. And it says this: "Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good." Yep, that's our final verse in the passage we're looking at, and it sounds godlike, doesn't it? It just sounds like good wisdom and a good direction for our lives. But think of the implications of actually being able to do something like that. To be able to take the lemons of life and turn them into lemonade. Make even the craziest of times, like when you have to have a lockdown, or you have to wear those uncomfortable masks to the store and everywhere you go, even turning times like this into really great experiences in life. Listen, today we're going to be doing a church parade, and if you're watching this late enough, we've already done it. We've asked a few people from the church to drive around with us and pass as many houses as we possibly could of the people of our church where they live, and just hoot and holler at them, right? And we did it just simply because it's fun and simply because we can, and it sounds like a great time and something that people can look forward to, and it'll be an encouragement for some young ones and those around. And here's the reality. Today's parade is brought to you by coronavirus. What do I mean? It's this. If it weren't for the coronavirus, we wouldn't be doing something like this. Sure, we might do something different, but how often do you get to see some of your church crazies, or those who are in leadership, or those who just lived too far away from anywhere that we would have been able to drive near their house, drive past your house and hoot and holler at you like you're the king and queen of the prom? And it is maybe an odd way of practicing what Romans 12:21 says, but it is a way of overcoming evil with something good. And we have to do things like that a lot in life. And if you don't, you will end up being grumpy and miserable and negative all the time. And don't do that, or your life will end up something like one of these two stories I'm going to share with you. You know what the take your kids to work days are when you're supposed to bring your child? They're dangerous days, to be honest with you. Because I heard of a guy who tended to be grumpy and complain at home rather than doing what Romans 12:21 says and overcoming evil with good. And he took his 8-year-old girl to the office on take your child to work day. And as the story goes, they were walking around and suddenly she just started crying and got extremely cranky, probably like she saw Dad do at home. And so eventually Dad says, "Well, what's wrong?" Well, through her crying and everything, a lot of the coworkers had gathered around, and he asked her what's wrong, and she finally stops amongst her crying, and she says these words to her. She sobs out these words. She says, Daddy, where are all the clowns you said you worked with?" Man, what happens when we let evil overcome who we are in our houses? Well, something like that maybe. I'll give you another story. There was a cranky older woman in her senior years, if you will. And she was arrested for shoplifting at a grocery store. And when she got arrested, she just gave everyone a hard time, from the store manager to the security guard, the officers that arrested her. She just hammered them and criticized them and complained about everything and everyone throughout the whole process of her going through being arrested. Well, then eventually she ended up having to appear before the judge, and the judge asked her, well, what did you steal from the store? And the grumpy lady just defiantly replied, I just stole a stupid can of peaches, and you're just an old fool. Well, the judge then asked her, well, why did you do it? And she replied, I was hungry and I forgot my purse. Now just leave me alone. Well, the judge asked her, he said, well, how many peaches were in that can that you took from the store? And she replied in another nasty tone, she said, 9. But why do you even care about that? And the judge, being very patient with her, said, well, ma'am, because I'm going to give you, as your punishment, 9 days in jail. 1 day for each peach. Well, as the judge was about to hit his gavel, the lady's husband raised his hand and said, Your Honor, may I please speak? And he said, yes, sir, you may. What do you have to add? And the husband said meekly, Your Honor, I just want to be honest and let you know, she also stole a bunch of cans of peas, too. Listen, I really just wanted to lighten your mood a little bit today with those stories. But I also wanted to tell you this. Those that don't learn how to overcome evil with good, and instead allow evil to overcome who they are, make everyone else around them wish that they could spend even more time in these new social distancing protocols, if you know what I mean. Don't be overcome by evil. Let the way you do life and the joy that Christ provides in your soul overcome evil with good. Think on that today. We'll see you tomorrow.